This evening on the Daily Tech News Show, Justin Robert Young brings the fire.
I had a friend of mine for whom used to have a fun thing that he would do periodically, wherein he would say, "Hey, where's the fire?"
Mm-hmm.
Which would be code, and we realized after he'd done it a few times that it was because he had let his manhood out of his zipper. It was exposed to the world, and he would just say, "Hey, where's the fire?" And then eventually you'd realize it was because he had
exposing himself.
He had exposed himself.
Hmm.
And boy, was it just a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, that's a you had to be there thing for sure.
I mean, it was certainly a lot of shock. Like, why would you do this?
Yeah.
Appropriate. We were also in a sketch comedy troupe, so there was an element of one-upmanship.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can see where certain contexts would make that truly hilarious, but you need a David Eggers-like writer to provide that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I guess my point is certainly not to say that this is universal.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't think you were.
You know, it's just a thing that whenever anybody says, "Where's the fire?"
Like when someone's going too fast, and you're like, "Hey, where's the fire?" You immediately go back to that period. Yeah.
And then I just think, oh, okay.
Well, you don't own a Amazon Kindle Fire, do you?
I don't. No.
Because I would recommend saying, "Hey, where's the Kindle?" in that case.
Yes. Did somebody find my Kindle? I left my Kindle in my bindle. It's a famous song.
Oh yeah, the hobos of southern Pennsylvania used to sing that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess like you have kindling in my bindle, right? Like it could be a real hobo song.
Yeah, they would shorten it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of the rhyme, not realizing they were preternaturally prefiguring Amazon's future product line. I think we've caught up. I think the video is there. Shall we boot?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. If you donate $10 per month, you can say 1.4 seconds of every single episode is brought to you by you. Head to dailytechnewsshow.com/support to adopt the second I called dibs on the first 2 seconds of that beautiful theme music. This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, March 3rd, 2016. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Mr. Justin Robert Young, ready to bring the fire, as we say.
Oh, man. You're going to ask yourself, where is it by the time that this podcast is over, because it will be undoubtedly in your face.
Yeah, Amazon Echo, now not alone. Well, Amazon Fire TV had some Alexa support, but 2 new devices that support Amazon's voice assistant coming out. And building on something we were talking with Michael Wolf about on Friday, Justin and I are going to talk about whether Amazon is sneakily becoming the dominant smart home platform. I don't think they're there yet, but they may be creeping in the back door.
I think that they not only are certainly a player, but they are also solving what I consider to be the fatal flaw of home automation. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
But let's start off by telling you what they actually announced to begin the headlines. Amazon started taking pre-orders today for 2 new Alexa-based devices, the Echo Dot. That one has an always-on mic, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth, but no speaker. It's essentially just the top part of an Amazon Echo. The Amazon Tap is the other device. It's a battery-powered portable device with Dolby speakers built in. So think of it like Bluetooth speakers with Alexa built in. Has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and a claimed 9-hour battery life when you're playing back music on it, 3-week battery life in standby. The Echo Dot, which is the one that is like, just a speakerless version of the Echo, is $90, so half the price of the Echo, and you can only order it through the Amazon Echo or Fire TV. Although I think somebody found a workaround using the mobile app, but it's meant to be only ordered by people who already have Alexa in their lives, whereas the Amazon Tap is $130, so in between the two, and you can order that on Amazon.com. Both ship March 31st, and thanks to Steve I.O. for posting this in the subreddit.
So there are two kind of stories here, and I think it's weird that we have kind of lumped them both into one, although it shows the power of the Echo brand that they are doing two divergent products in one family. The Tap is very obviously just, hey, a bunch of people complained that they already got awesome speaker systems. They don't need the speaker system connected.
That's the Dot.
Sorry, the Dot. Sorry. The Dot. All right. So here we go. Rewind.
Thank you.
The Dot is, we already got these awesome speakers, but we do love the functionality. Let's go ahead and put this out. Very obviously, the Echo, as I have found out, is still something that you cannot get 2 days after you order it, despite the fact that it's an Amazon product. They are taking time to roll those out, so they want to put some artificial boundaries on how you get that, and that's why they're doing this. You can only order it through these other products. The Amazon Tap, on the other hand, the portable device, while certainly bringing some of the elements of the Echo in, takes away a lot of the what people love about the Echo, which is the always-on element of it, the fact that you don't have to think about something, you just yell at this piece of furniture and it does stuff for you, but is rather taking, I'm sure, what Amazon knows very, very well, that there are a wealth of almost completely undifferentiatable USB charged portable speakers. They are a dime a dozen, and a lot of them are really good, right? So this is their way to get themselves into that game with a brand that is already thought to be something special.
I'm going to talk a little bit more in our discussion section about what I think the Dot could be used for, and you just gave me a few more ideas about what how the Tap fits into this as well. But it is an interesting and fits with the whole Alexa Amazon Echo procedure of just adding things slowly. Like, here's a couple things. They may not be the most comprehensive. They may not even be the what the most people want, but they're things that Amazon thinks they can do really well, and they're just anyway, yeah. Kind of a slow march.
Also, another feather in the cap of Amazon. Echo was something that was like semi-derided initially. It has found a rabid fan base, and we're going to get into its legacy and what it has meant in a bit. But just focus on the idea that Amazon, being a physical product creator, I think that they have come a long way in the last 5 to 7 years since the initial Kindle, of just really doing what I think something that Google has never really been able to do, which is just iterative product, improvement. And they have a devoted fan base in a way that Google has never really been able to manufacture those products.
Now, before you go to the next headline, somebody who didn't even want to come up with a chat room name, web_93919, says, did Tom say the Dot didn't have a speaker? I swear I read otherwise. Yes. Technically, the Dot has a very small speaker, so if it's not hooked up to another speaker, you can still hear things, but it's like a tiny cardioid speaker or something. It's not meant for music playback. The whole point of the Dot is that it has a wire and a Bluetooth connection to connect to really good speakers. So there
yes. They don't want, that's the whole idea, the whole concept.
I also didn't mention that it has a power cord, too.
All right. Good. Cool your pies. Samsung announced Thursday that it's shipping the industry's largest solid-state drive, the 15.36 terabyte PM1633A. The new Samsung drive is based on a 12 gigabit per second serial attached SCSI interface. This is the one that uses 480 to 500 of the new 256 gigabit NAND flash die. Samsung says it offers random read and write speeds of up to 200,000 and 32,000 OPS, respectively, and sequential read and write speeds of up to 1,200 megabytes per second. Thanks to Captain Kipper for posting this in the subreddit.
Yeah, so really the only thing you have to remember out of all of that is 15.36 terabyte flash drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
fast.
An absolute freak show of a drive. And for the first time in a very long time, Tom, I got that sense that I used to have back in the early aughts where storage could confound me. You know, like where it was just like, oh my God, how could I remember one time I was thinking about getting a larger iPod. I'm like, I don't know how I would justify that space. And my friend who, had a gigantic music collection was like, don't worry, we can justify you. And since then, HD movies and everything, it became very easy to understand how you would fill gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs. But 15.36 solid state or terabytes are just like, oh geez, wow, that's a lot of space.
It's a lot. And obviously this is an enterprise level product. We don't know what the price is because it's probably even negotiated based on the buy. So this is not going to come to your local device anytime this year.
Sure, yeah.
But that's how it happens is, they start with the enterprise level storage devices. I'm pretty sure that in this PC Mag article they said that the top one available from Seagate or Western Digital is like 10 terabytes.
Yeah.
So that means, we're looking at consumer level terabyte flash drives being pretty common soon.
Get ready for it to be in your phone in 5 years.
Heck yeah. Recode reports that about 40 companies and organizations are filing their amicus briefs today supporting Apple in its case with the FBI. Among those filing so far, not everybody has filed. Google, Microsoft, Facebook, all expected to file. So far, we've seen the ACLU, Twitter, and a bunch of other people. But security experts Dino De Zovi, Dan Boneh, Charlie Miller, Hovav Shacham, Bruce Schneier, Dan S. Wallach, and Jonathan Jarsky have all teamed up on a filing. Now, these are some of the most preeminent security experts out there. Their filing emphasizes the dangers of the proposed software to unlock an iPhone 5C falling into the wrong hands. They're saying even if the key isn't compromised, just having the software gives a potential attacker some things they can learn from and reverse engineer. All the briefs must be filed by 5 p.m. Pacific time Thursday. A hearing is scheduled for March 22nd.
So it seems like the cavalry arriving, right? We'll see. We have another local time, another 2.5 hours for some of the other big heavy hitters to file their briefs. But this seems like Apple is becoming probably not surprising for people who listen to this show, a figurehead for a larger fight.
New York Times had an interesting article today, sources saying that a lot of tech executives were wary of jumping in on Apple's side at first. That's why you saw some of these tentative responses, like Microsoft just pointing to a trade association, Sundar Pichai from Google sort of having a little bit of a mealy-mouthed Twitter exchange, because they didn't know how the public would react to this. A lot of them thought Apple picked the wrong case. Apple has maintained all along, we didn't pick the case. We got cornered by the FBI on this case.
Yeah.
And whoever you believe, all the tech companies of note seem to have been convinced that they want to file on behalf of Apple.
Speaking of Apple, they've started a Twitter account, this time for customer service. The @Apple support account went live at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. The account will provide tips, tricks, and helpful information, as well as answering customer questions. Apple already has Twitter accounts for existing services like Beats One, Apple Music, App Store Games, and iTunes, but no core account. No just @Apple.
I should have looked at this earlier, but does someone have that?
I'm sure that they
is there a spotter on twitter.com/Apple? Somebody's got it. Joined September 2011, never posted. So I'm going to guess it's Apple, and they're just waiting to unveil it someday.
Man,
this is interesting from the side of Apple opening up another avenue of communication. They like to very closely control how you communicate with them, even for support. It's also interesting that Apple felt, being as conservative as they are on this, that Twitter was the place to do this, given all of the hand-wringing over, well, is Twitter even successful? Is it going to die? Is it going to go away?
Well, I mean, you could say, for all the, I mean, like, there's a lot of hand-wringing about Twitter here, right? There, and I mean not only on this podcast, but where I live in the Bay Area, right? Like, that's where people are worrying about the future of Twitter. I don't think that there's much of a question of Twitter's future as a platform. It will exist. The question is whether or not it will exist as an independent company, or if another company, I don't know, let's say Apple, would buy it and allow it to continue to do whatever it did and have it funnel back into a larger umbrella.
The return of Ping.
Ah, finally.
Yeah.
Let me write about it on my Connect account.
All right, yeah, I'll go clerk about it. LinkedIn CEO Jeff Weiner will donate his $14 million stock bonus to employees to make up for a 40% drop in the company's share price. Recode was told by a LinkedIn spokesperson that Weiner asked the compensation committee to take back the stock package he would have received and put it in the pool for employees. LinkedIn's latest quarterly results were released in early February, and they revealed the company's yearly guidance was lower than analysts expected, and that caused a drop in the stock price, according to Fortune. Thanks to Motang for posting this on the subreddit.
I hope he alerted his employees with a series of emails that were impossible to opt out of.
Yeah, and I hope when you clicked on the link to go take advantage of the new stock pool, that it told you that you needed to log into your app and you couldn't remember your password.
All things being equal, I think that there is certainly this is a warm and fuzzy story, right?
Good move. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this move.
No, this shows a CEO who cares about his employees, and in a world, I mean, again,
press move. But it's also just a good move for your employees, too. Like, it's both.
And in a world where we have, I don't know, is Twitter going to be gone tomorrow? It used to be the king of the world. There is a battle for good employees and good talent within the tech field. This is a good sign of somebody who seems to care a little bit more about the people that work under him.
Good job, Jeff.
No Man's Sky has been highly anticipated since 2013. It promises an open-world exploration game with 18 quintillion unique worlds, and now Hello Games promises to come out June 21st for PC and PS4 for the fair price of $60 American.
It's the normal price. They're gonna have a Blu-ray disc for it. It's already up for pre-order at Steam and Good Old Games and a bunch of different places. I want this, and now I have to decide: do I want it on my PC or do I want it on my PS4?
Well, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of very clear answers, and everyone's going to come to a consensus in the chat room, based on that completely uncontroversial question.
Yeah, you tell me by the end of the headlines which one I should do. Thanks. Wall Street Journal reports sources say Intel is working on a reference design for its own augmented reality headset. It would use Intel's RealSense depth sensing technology, and Fortune points out that a company called Dacry announced a smart helmet that is for factory use, for factory workers at CES this year, which also uses RealSense. So the idea, Justin, is Intel says, look, here's how you use RealSense to make a great augmented reality headset. Go forth, licensees, give us a little money, and make your own augmented reality headsets.
This reminds me almost a lot of what we're going to get into when it comes to the home automation, that now virtual reality is something that people are buzzing about, and you get a lot of people, including people who will be used as a part supplier for a lot of these as they come out, saying, hey, look, let's spur the market. Let's create more of a buzz around this idea so people do more and better things with it, and then we can profit.
Yeah, the big question at this point, and it's an unanswerable question, is will people take advantage of this? It's unanswerable because the VR world is wide open. We won't know for a few months, even among Oculus Vive and PlayStation VR, which of those has good traction, which of those is well reviewed. And there's so many of these Gear VR cardboard-like headsets. There's a bunch of other people making headsets. Lots of people making augmented reality. HoloLens developer kit out there. So this is the Wild West, and makes sense for Intel to say, look, we've got depth sensing stuff. Let's make a design, see if we can get in on this action.
Meanwhile, Motherboard reports Amazon has deprecated device encryption on Fire OS version 5, which runs on Fire HD and Fire HDX 8.9. Users can either decline to update to the latest version of the OS or give up Amazon's encryption. The Amazon Echo devices still support strong encryption, thanks to Greg N. for posting this in the subreddit.
I am befuddled. I have no clue what Amazon is up to here. Now, the tinfoil hat community has this down. They're like, well, obviously, they're in league with the NSA and the government to undermine your security. They're removing the encryption, to which I say that doesn't sound like what the NSA would want. The NSA would want weakened encryption so that users think they're safe and put all their sensitive data there, but then the NSA could sneak in. So taking encryption away entirely makes people less likely to store sensitive information on a device, certainly makes the bad guys not even want to buy the device.
Yeah.
So why would Amazon remove encryption? Amazon filing an amicus brief today on the side of Apple supporting strong encryption and yet taking it away on one of their products.
I almost wonder whether or not this is just a profit motive, like if it costs them more to maintain these things, that maybe it's just some line item where it's like, hey, guess what? People who buy these products don't care about this. This is not where we want to plant our flag, so let's just cut it and we'll move on. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that is one possible scenario. It's a reasonable scenario. It's a price performance thing. People, like you say, people on this don't care. Although these tablets were marketed as enterprise devices, and already on Amazon support, they've got a few people complaining, well, I can't use this at work anymore. Thanks a lot. But maybe there weren't that many of them. I guess the only other thing I could think of is that the encryption that was on there was broken or had been compromised, and they don't want to go public with that information, so the next best thing is to just remove it altogether and then put in a new encryption scheme in a future update. But that's even a stretch. Like, why not just replace it and say, hey, we're upgrading encryption, here you go. I don't know.
This also seems like something that they would want to just get out ahead of, right? And just
and they're not commenting at all yet. Maybe by the end of the day they will have commented to Motherboard.
Maybe you'll have to ask for comment through your Echo.
Maybe that's it. Motherboard reporters, go to your Amazon Echo. Hey, Tech in Asia reports the latest IDC numbers for smartphone sales in India show that Apple has passed Xiaomi for 6th place in the market. Still not high up there, but Xiaomi trying to make all of these advances as a medium-priced phone. Apple's seen as a luxury phone, and Apple doing better right now. Samsung still leads the entire pack, followed by Micromax, Lenovo, Lava, and Intex. This despite an increase in the average selling price of the iPhone here.
It shows you what a powerful brand the iPhone is, and this has kind of been Apple's game from the very beginning, is they don't need to necessarily sell the most. They can still sell plenty at the price point that they want, that makes them the amount of money per unit that they are happy with.
And if you doubt that, here are the numbers saying otherwise.
Yeah. North American theme park operator Six Flags will provide Samsung Gear VR headsets to riders of some of its roller coasters at 9 parks starting this month. 6 parks get the new Revolution VR coasters where riders are co-pilots in a fighter jet combating invading aliens. 3 parks will get a Superman-themed experience. All parks will get a heightened anxiety for people who are already weird about wearing hats.
Yeah, how many Gear VRs are going to fall off the coaster, by the way? That's my first question.
It sounds terrifying. Like, you would need to glue it to my head. Like, it would need to just be a slip that I would sit on. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just you just build them into the
pictures don't make it look that way. It looks like they just strap them onto you. I'm sure an attendant, park employee must strap it onto you and make sure it's secure before you're allowed to go. I do. At first I thought, why would I want a VR helmet on when I'm on a roller coaster? Doesn't make any sense at all. But then once I realized, oh, it's basically turning the roller coaster into a motion creator, a motion simulator. I'm like, oh, actually that flying thing could be pretty cool.
Oh
like
no,
I get that now.
I think this has the capacity to be really, really cool. I would like to see it with something a little bit more powerful than the Gear VR, which I think is interesting and will probably be aided by the fact that you are doing this amazing actual movement. But I don't know if it is the pinnacle of where we want to be in terms of immersive VR. It's just, and listen, man, maybe it's just I remember a day when at Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, they used to have the Dueling Dragons ride. Now it's been repurposed as a Harry Potter thing. But there was a great moment in which both coasters went up at the same time, and you could see the other people as you both did a loop, right?
Sure.
They take it away because somebody's shoe came off and hit somebody else that was then across from them. I can only that is the only thing going through my mind is just the opening scene of Armageddon, a meteorite shower of Samsung Gear VRs that are flying off people's heads during these coaster experiments.
Well, two things. One is someone who is scared of roller coasters, not saying it's me, maybe it's me, wants to see around them, and tries this about halfway through the ride, just can't take it, and rips the thing off their head, causing the incident that you're talking about with the plummeting Gear VR.
So, I mean,
I'm going to do that at Six Flags Mid-America in West St. Louis, but just a possibility.
I guess I just don't know about. Doesn't it seem a little risky, right, for a industry that is normally risk averse, like that they are. They have
you could argue they're very risky. I mean, they put people in roller coasters, for goodness sake.
I mean, yes, but but to do that, they have to operate under very stringent assurance, right? They have to be safety is job one, and I don't know where if safety is job one, let's have a loosely connected unit.
Look, I mean, it's easy to throw stones when we haven't actually gone through the process. I'm sure that Six Flags had to come up with a very secure way or convince someone that this is very secure to happen. It's not like they just, Bob and Fred came up with the idea in the break room yesterday and they put out a press release. But I'm curious to find out more about how they plan to secure these.
Less dangerous than hats. How is that? You can't have a hat on. This is
there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. If any of you are employees of Six Flags, please write in and let us know.
This is the most important story we've covered today.
Stoic Squirrel points out, what about the nausea? Gear VR already causes people a little bit of nausea, as do roller coasters. Does it cancel out? I don't think so. Finally, Google is creating a volunteer team to map data in an open source project to combat the Zika virus. They're also donating some money to UNICEF. So that is a good thing. Well done, Google. Submit some stories to us, folks. We want to hear your votes on them as well. Go to dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Let us know what you want in the headlines. And that, my friends, is a look at the headlines. Okay, let us get to the Amazon Echo, Amazon Tap, Echo Dot Assault. And don't forget Fire TV has a version of Alexa in it as well, although it doesn't necessarily communicate with the other and with the Amazon Echo Alexa. And that's one thing I'm curious about, is how well tied in on the back end these are. They say you can't tell one of these devices to have the other device do something. I can't tell the Amazon Tap, hey, have the Amazon Echo in the kitchen start playing some music. Like, they're not that well connected. But they did announce that they have Nest and Honeywell coming on board as thermostats so that you don't have to use IFT. Right now you can use IFT and make the Nest do something for you, but you won't have to do that. They're going to have direct integration, which some people are more comfortable with. They already do Echo B3. They also say they're going to work on the Insteon thermostats. So to me, I look at the Amazon Echo Dot not as something I want to hook up to an already existing speaker, but as something I can throw in the bathroom, because it does have that tiny speaker in there, and just use, like, when I run out of toilet paper, I could say, hey, add toilet paper to the shopping list. and at a cheaper price, but also get some news updates, weather, etc., without having to buy a full-on Amazon Echo because I don't need the big speaker in the bathroom.
So I think where we're getting here with the Echo is great news for Amazon in that you've created a successful product that has kind of borne fruit in a field that has thus far been much ballyhooed but semi-barren, right? Home automation. It's been the buzz at CES since like what? The Iraq War?
The first Iraq War. Yeah, absolutely. It went from being a very expensive thing you needed an installer to put to something you could do with X10 and get a little bit of stuff out of to now capable sensors that are not crazy expensive, but nobody's the winner of this space. Nobody is like, oh, that's the thing. We have pieces of it, right? With the Nest is definitely the most popular thermostat. The Philips Hue is the most popular light bulb. But nobody's on one platform yet, and nobody's got it cracked.
Building their own walled gardens. It's hard for something to fit into an ecosystem, and yet here comes Amazon. Creates a product that people really like, and what I think we're seeing here, and the reason why they're able to kind of expand this in different areas, even if they're not necessarily networkable like you mentioned before, is that it is like a primary candidate for president in the primaries that is now beginning to coalesce support, right? It is only by the demonstration of success that you have all these walled gardens, not saying let's open up, but rather saying let's tie in, because now people can get more access. Like right now, every light in my studio is all Philips Hue, right? So I got lights in the background that I can change between shows. I got lights on my face that I can change that between my complexion and Ashley's complexion, my wife who also works on the rig, we can change that easy. Now it can be easier, and I think that what Amazon was great at is in embracing the IFT recipes, saying, look, this is functionality over everything. And that's really the only way that we're going to start to see a lot of these disparate, albeit impressive, home automation features that have been built into products for years really start to sing. And I think that that's something very, very impressive.
I think what's interesting about Amazon's approach here is something that I thought was a weakness at first, but may in fact be the strength of it, is that they haven't been able to do everything. When I first got the Echo, part of the reason people were deriding it, but when I first got the Echo, I found it limited. Like, well, I can't use my favorite shopping list app. But you know what I did? I found the convenience of being able to just say, put this on my shopping list so good that I'm using the crappy Amazon Alexa app as my shopping list because it on the whole is more convenient. I said, you know what? I don't really want to have a second full Amazon Echo in the bathroom, and they just gave me an alternative. Like, hey, you don't have to spend as much money. Get a Dot. I want to take Echo with me. I'd rather have it on my smartphone, but now they're giving me a Bluetooth speaker. Eventually, I hope they come up with a smartphone app that lets me talk to Alexa and do things on the back end. Eventually, I hope they make them tie in well together so you can tell one Echo to have another Echo do something by location. I want it to connect with my Nest. I want it to connect with my LifeX bulbs. And what Amazon has been doing is keeping you wanting to do more with it, but giving you enough to do with it that you don't stop using it. So I continue to use it, and I continue to like get excited when they finally add one of those things I've been waiting for it to do.
Well, and specifically, you have a promise of a brighter future because Amazon wants to be in business with all these other things ultimately, right? Because they are just a platform for which they want to be populated, unlike if this were a Siri product or a Google Now product. There is a larger sense that they want the web services that they are pushing to be the ones that you are using. There still is that favoritism amongst the Amazon Echo, but they seem to be very eager to continue to build the roster of functionality.
Yeah. I really think, and Michael Wolff said this on Friday as well, like they are creeping in, taking steps, and by not being a platform
Yeah.
that you have to opt into or opt out of, by just sort of being like, hey, we're just a thing. You guys make thermostats, you guys make sensors, you guys make light bulbs. We're just a thing. They might become the hub. They might become the platform.
And really, I mean, like if you want to break this down to the nitty gritty, the killer feature is the mics, right? The mics are very very well tuned. You know, they don't go off too much so that you find them annoying. They are, you know, unlike your phone, which you are constantly fiddling with. Well, do I turn it on or off, silent, or am I turning this on airplane mode? Is it do not disturb? You know, that's killed some of the functionality for Siri, which I at times really enjoyed, just yelling to my phone and saying, "Hey Siri, what time is it?" But that's been something that for whatever reason, you know, turns on or turns off almost in my mind. I'm sure I'm doing it on purpose, without any kind of warning. Amazon Echo has been not too hot, not too cold, and it's just there for you to talk to it. And that is gigantic, because with that customer confidence, you can have a lot. And that's what I think we're seeing with this first expansion beyond the initial device.
All right, let's move on to our pick of the day from our boss, Sebastian, who says this week seems to have become the Wi-Fi router week, and I would love to participate. So we had Patrick's router pick. We had a pick yesterday from a listener, and Sebastian would like to recommend an access point that he has bought after seeing it in action at various conferences. Sebastian says it is not a router, but replaces your router's lousy Wi-Fi capabilities for good. The greatest part is that you can plug in as many as you want of these babies everywhere around your house and all play well together, allowing roaming or devices from one access point to go to another. The speed is fantastic, even in crowded areas, and it uses both bands, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. The device I'm talking about is the Ubiquiti Unify ACLR, and it costs around $109 if you get it in the US. Of course, it's also available in Europe. And some people, when we've been talking about the Eero routers, have mentioned the Ubiquiti as something they're like, I know it's not exactly the same technology. Maybe it's not quite as smooth. Maybe it is, but it's certainly a lot cheaper.
Yeah, you want to know what I mean? This router talk on the show has been very interesting to me, because we have had nothing but problems with Wi-Fi in our apartment, and maybe it is time for me to spend some time and money to upgrade. But this, as I look at the Eero and its steep $500 price point for its pack of 3, maybe this is something that we try before we go all in with the Eero.
Yeah, I mean, especially at a place your size, you probably don't need 3 Eeros, which it's a little cheaper, but then it's a little cheaper for 1 Eero, and you don't get most of the benefits of the Eero if you only have one. So yeah, maybe the Ubiquiti is the place.
Yeah.
Send your picks to us, folks. Feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. We want to hear from you. And you can find more picks or even get some ideas at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Got a call here from Gardner in downstate Illinois about Apple developers.
Hey, Tom and distinguished co-host. This is Gardner from downstate Illinois. About the Apple FBI case, one thing not frequently discussed is the selection of individual developers at Apple to work on government OS. We don't know how many employees have the necessary skills to work in this effort, so we don't really know if it's a volunteer or draft situation. If enough developers won't agree to build government OS for whatever reason, does the government then issue writs to individual developers to participate? And when someone is known to have worked in government OS, are they at some risk for targeting by governments and bad actors that want to know more? Something for the government to force on someone, isn't it? Love the show.
Interesting thoughts. I think mostly what happens is Apple is held responsible. And so if they can't get a developer who wants to do it, then they can fire them. But Apple, the company, is responsible for all of these things. That's the legal side of it, though. But, I mean, Gardner still makes a good point on the sort of practical side of it. If you were the person that was called upon to do this and then were subject to pressure to leak something to someone for some reason.
Yeah. You know, I think that this is an element of our discussion that has continued to go on about the Apple case that I think kind of escapes the general public's view of exactly what this means and the talent that is needed to do it.
Got Rich from lovely Cleveland saying the problem he thinks VR will face is the visual immersion raises the expectation for physical immersion that isn't there. He says there'll certainly be equally immersive audio, but especially for something like the Vive, which focuses on hyper-accurate body tracking, the complete numbness of the experience may become an issue. It also limits very basic integration with the virtual environments, even with the seemingly great hand tracking on the Vive, without proper resistance to virtual objects. This is why he's bullish on AR. While you have the same issues of interacting with virtual objects, having them built on top of the physical world allows a little bit more of a fourth wall.
So I think what somebody who is very much into VR would tell Rich is you would be amazed at what your brain creates when it is fully visually immersed. That you feel more a part of things, and that resistance is less of an issue if you are fully immersed. And that's the problem with the uncanny valley in VR, and where you need to get over it, and where something like the Vive has been very impressive to people, is that your brain does more of the work than you think that it might when that you are over that peak. I don't. It always kind of confuses me when we talk about VR versus AR, because to me that's like debating toasters versus blenders. Right?
Yeah, it may be a little bit like smartphone or tablet. Which should you get? It's like, well, maybe one of them, maybe both, maybe neither. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think for me, AR is ultimately something that I want almost always on. Right? That's the point. It almost to me should be an Amazon Echo kind of situation where it's just there's just always an element of AR in my life. I would love that. VR is something that I don't want all the time. I don't know.
No, you only want it on your roller coasters.
Exactly. I only want it when it is rubber cemented to my face at a Six Flags.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. It really isn't an either or. Although I do feel like augmented reality has a chance to do a lot of what virtual reality can do. They are different things.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to bet which horse will make more money, right? A well-known metaphor that everybody uses, which horse will make more money.
Oh yeah, horse income is a huge betting industry. Ask Mitsula.
In the metaphorical world.
Finally, Franz in warm and sunny Pretoria, South Africa, and proud patron, thank you, Franz, says, I have to listen to the show daily as it keeps my mind occupied to be less frustrated with other drivers. He thanks us for that. But it begs the question, will I be that one driver yelling and berating my poor little self-driving car, threatening to take it out and put it down the garbage disposal when I get home? When you get to sign that form indicating what you want your new self-driving car to do in the trolley accident scenario, can there be some other options? 1, I'm a grandmother, so always drive very slow. 2, I'm a mother, late, often with children, so drive faster but safer. Or 3, get off the road, you idiot, setting, which Franz says would be for himself, of course. But it brings up the issue of, like, we're so used to having a style of driving. If self-driving cars all have to follow the speed limit and all play nice to each other, will we get some sense of disconnected frustration? Like, come on, you could go faster. There's open lanes.
I mean, I think this is a fun conversation to have, but it is ultimately about as fruitful as us watching an episode of The Jetsons and debating what setting we are going to have on our crazy Rosie the Robot maid, right? It's like I think hopefully the idea of a self-driving car is that it completely shifts our ideas and attitudes toward driving, as that it is more. It's not like we're like, oh my God, why doesn't the pilot on my commercial flight from San Francisco to Chicago adopt my style of flying? I like to have a much more aggressive style of flying. You just get on the plane and it takes you from point A to point B.
Well, yeah, and I was even thinking of it in terms of taxis. Like the first time I ever got in a taxi, I was riveted. I was like, "What's this guy going to do? Where is he going to go? Is it going to take me to the wrong place? Is he going to get lost?" After a few times of taking a taxi, of course, anybody who's grown up with taxis or learned to take taxis, you don't do that anymore. You look at your phone, you read your paper, you get on, you do other stuff, and you
not talk to the taxi driver.
exactly, it becomes the opposite. So self-driving cars are going to be like that. Sure, I think the first few times we're in self-driving cars is kind of be a little bit like what Franz is describing, but you're probably right. We get used to it, and then we're not even noticing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. Justin Robert Young, for joining us today. You got so many projects going on. I don't even know which one to point at.
How about this? Next week, I will be a larger part of the show because I'll be at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. We got a bunch of fun stuff that we're going to do. I'll be live in studio for Night Attack next Monday, not Tuesday, for Night Attack fans. Wednesday, I will be at the Hideout Coffee Shop at 6 p.m. for a meetup of Contender fans of the card game that I invented with John Teasdale and Guts and Glory. We are going to be playing the Contender, having a great time. That is 6 p.m. on Wednesday. And then Saturday, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., we are live at the Brew Exchange in Austin, Texas for a live episode of Night Attack featuring the Possum Posse. So everybody, if you are in Austin for South by Southwest, I'm sure we'll be out and about. I'm super excited to meet everybody at one of those many events.
So we will be getting Justin Robert Young not only on Thursday next week, in person, right? You and I both in Austin.
I believe we'll both be at Brian's house, right?
And then you're signed up to host Daily Tech News Show next Friday because I am irresponsibly going to go do a South by Southwest panel at Showtime.
Tom, you are not irresponsibly doing anything. We are a team. We are a unit. We are a family. We are picking up like your routers. We are picking up where one might be weak, the other is strong. A mesh network of tech news brought to you daily. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, no, that's absolutely true. You're right, 100%. I just meant I'm going to be irresponsible once I'm on Ryan's panel.
Oh, got you. Yeah,
totally
no, definitely. Yeah, Tom's going to be wasted. So if you are in this, then go to South by Southwest. Whatever the president's doing, that'll be really nice. But Tom's going to be irresponsibly drunk at 11 o'clock in the morning.
But that is no reason for you not to support the show. Or is it? I don't know. If you're getting value out of the show, don't make value judgments. Just give a little of that value back at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Seriously, though, we thank every single person who supports the show. We're getting closer to that day 6 goal. Peter Wells is on the hook for 2 of the day 6 episodes because we're halfway to the goal. We know we're going to get to the full way to the goal, so we already have our next milestone ready to be revealed. Stay tuned for that. We know you're going to love it. And thanks to every single person who supports the show at dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Also, if you're thinking about it, give us a 5-star rating, if we think we're worth 5 stars, on your favorite podcast app. That helps other people discover the show as well. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. It's 512-593-2459. Catch the show live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. And visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Len Peralta and Darren Kitchen. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Boom, great show. What should we call it?
We should call it, is there an echo in here?
I actually really like that. Did you just make that up?
I did.
Yeah. Is there an echo in here?
Is there an echo in here? Because if there's not, we should buy one.
I am sorry, Showbot TV submitters. We will go through your titles, but I'm probably going to pick Is There an Echo in Here?
There's Apple builds its core defense.
Apple Core. I like it. It's pretty good.
Setting fire to Amazon's encryption, and that got bumped. FireOS encryption,
Decryption.
Twister. Amazon's Fuller House of Tech.
Fuller House. Nice. Good attempt, Beatmaster.
No DNS issues with DTNS until after the show.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Dark Redeemer was trying to put deprecation and encryption together.
I can't. My tongue isn't.
Deprencryption ish.
Man, I thought everybody was being really quiet, and then I realized that I accidentally closed the browser window.
Oh, I wonder where you went.
Yeah, no, that was really weird. I
did that once. I was on a.
There's some dialogue box, right?
Yeah.
Like you're about to leave.
You're about to leave
on air.
I did that once on Skype. I was on Skype. I think it was with Tech News Today, and I was just cleaning up my desktop. I was like, oh, I don't need all these things open, and I was like, oh, I don't need Skype open, and I left. I left the podcast. I'm like, oh, I did need Skype open because I was actually on that show.
There's Alexa's Estranged Family. Don't go chasing VR roller coasters, which I assume variation on Don't Go Chasing Waterfall.
All right.
Echo in the Bathroom is the top at this point.
Yeah, I like the English beat sort of illusion there, but is there an echo in here? Come on.
Is there an echo in here?
Echo in here?
Huh?
Because you could get one for $90 if you want the dot.
I'm curious to see how well that does.
Yeah, me too. Amazon says they got a lot of people saying, well, I already have a speaker. I'd buy this if I could just hook up something to my speaker. So if they have the data, then it should do well. And then there's people like me who's like, actually don't want to hook it up to a speaker, although I might. I've got an old iPod speaker in the bathroom that has an aux jack, and I will occasionally plug my iPhone into that, but I can see myself putting the dot with the aux jack and plugging it in.
Also, I think that part of it is like, their narrative is like, hey man, a lot of people have these Bang & Olufsen speakers that they're like, oh my god, I need to use it. It's garbage on the Echo device compared to what I have. It's perfectly calibrated.
Totally.
But really, what they could just as easily be saying is like, yeah, I don't know, man, get some computer speakers for like $5, right, and just plug it in your bathroom.
Totally.
And boom, just have that functionality.
Because I think these are the Logitech speakers. I don't even know how much they were back in 2005 when we bought them, but they're fine. They're speakers.
Yeah.
They're free at this point, sort of.
So,
I mean,
going with
the sunk cost.
Is there an echo in here?
Yeah. Is there an echo in here? Justin wins the title.
Boom. Nailed it.
Well, it's number 6. It's tied with Echo in the Bathroom.
Oh, who submitted it?
Dr. Payne.
Dr. Payne jumped on it. Nice.
All right, gang. I'm out.
All right, man. See you
later.
next week in the Austins.
Yeah, let's go. South by. Woo! What's going to win South by? I don't know. Probably meat farts. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, see you later.
Bye.
So
if for some reason someone's going to be at South, I don't know why I assume no one's going to be at South by Southwest Interactive. It's not true. I'm doing a panel with Ryan Summer from the Influencer Economy at same time as DTNS, 1:30 p.m. About podcasting. So keep an eye on your schedules.
Be there or be left out.
Be there or be at home listening to DTNS.
And the 11th, it's Justin that's hosting. That day you're at South by.
Correct.
Okay.
Esta verdad.
And then there'll be Darren and Len.
No, I don't think Darren's on that Friday. I'll have to double check on that. Has he gotten back to us on his March schedule? I don't think he has yet.
If he did not contact me.
Ryan Williams is the one who I will be on the panel with, by the way. I think I said the wrong last name just now.
All right.
The panel is called Podcasts Grown Up, Community and Monetization.
Grown Up.
With Carrie Hoffman, Jamie Tardy, and Ryan Williams.
All I know is I gotta get Sleepy Hair bundled into the car seat soon.
Oh yeah, she's tired, huh?
She's always tired. It's kind of annoying, actually. But I guess babies do that.
They get tired. You sleep a lot when you're a baby, and then you start to sleep less as you get older until you get a certain age. Then you start to sleep more again.
I thought you required less sleep, regardless, around in your 60s or 70s.
That's true. That is the thing. But I feel like you sleep more, like you take more naps and stuff.
Maybe I always.
You're right. It is true that you're supposed to require less sleep as you get old.
I always thought it was just people resting, because of the frailty of old age.
Yeah, I'm just gonna rest my eyes.
Yeah, I used to do that on drives, long drives. I can tell you right now, bad idea.
Resting your eyes is just taking a nap. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but you can't drive doing it.
No, don't do it while you're operating the vehicle.
Which I can totally see that's going to be the big thing for self-driving cars, really, is long commutes where you just there's been times where what should be a 35-minute drive is 2 hours.
Yeah.
Gonna doze off wow.
Well, and the theory is that commutes would become much shorter once the effect of ordered driving happens. Like a lot of our traffic jams are caused by somewhat not irrational behavior, but behavior that doesn't take into account all the cars on the road, and it's inefficient. I think that's probably a better word. And self-driving cars will be more efficient.
Well, if you imagine if you had an accident, one car blocks a lane and it's there for 30 minutes, it gets towed to the side, gets fixed, whatever. That dominoes down the line. So
right.
The effect lasts much longer than 30 minutes.
And then the people in the next lane over don't always let the people in the lane that's blocked in, and that causes backages and might cause another accident. And
I've always been curious if what would happen is you'll have a hybrid, a public transit system that encompasses people's private cars, where enough of people are going in the same direction that you can kind of build a train, so to speak, of self-driving cars that get an HOV lane.
Totally.
You can pack 50 cars. Boom. Everyone gets to
Yeah. I kind of feel like that's the way, in some way or another, something like that would happen.
Although I'd still like the ultimate alternative of just beaming yourself to where you need to go, like Star Trek.
I have philosophical issues with that.
Is that the whole dying?
Is it still me at the end?
You know what? I used to say that after a bender. It's is this really me? The same person I was before I started.
After a bender? Is that what you said?
Yeah. You see, that's the one thing I never understood about Star Trek. Why don't they just beam people from one end of the city to the other instead of just hopping in a shuttle? I've got to take a shuttle to the other end of Starfleet Academy.
No, totally, because they say it's unlimited power, right? They don't have a power issue.
So why don't you just?
And they say it's perfectly safe.
Yeah. They could
why not just use it?
Yeah. Remember what was the episode where Spock had to fetch McCoy and Kirk at Yosemite Park? Was it Star Trek 5 or 4? 5? It was 5, right? Yeah, 5.
By the way, Hawkwood says the sleeping less due to old age was debunked because they forgot to ask if you took naps during the day. I don't know. He doesn't have a link, so I can't substantiate that, but that's interesting.
My dad doesn't take naps. He just takes a long sleep.
He just rests his eyes.
It's weird. He goes to bed really late, and then he wakes up late, but he gets the normal 8 hours.
Mm.
Of course, his eyes really haven't changed all much other than needing reading less.
Nice talking to you, Dr. Payne.
Dr. Payne. Sounds like a supervillain. Or at least a James Bond villain. Dr. No versus Dr. Payne. Was Dr. No even a doctor? Did he have a PhD or did he have a...
Yeah, was he a medical doctor or just a doctor of philosophy?
Or maybe he was just a self-titled doctor.
Yeah, I'm a doctor of podcasting. Maybe that's my next big money-making idea, is to issue doctorates of podcasting, starting with myself.
Can't be any worse than some of those fly-by-night correspondence courses.
The Academy of Podcastery.
There's some really shonky ones. Like I seen what was it? I thought it was really weird. It wasn't a full degree. Maybe it was an AA, but what it was in was very head scratchy. I'm trying to remember.
Hawkwood says he heard it on Science Friday, which is why he doesn't have a link. He wasn't being lazy. Sounds like a load of podcastery. All right. I believe I am done. Let me check this post. Seems to have uploaded fine. All righty. All right. That is it, folks. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for
listening. And we'll talk to you later.